This £220,000 Lamborghini has been stolen from me, but today we're going to attempt to get it back. Unfortunately, the thieves have hit the jackpot and stolen one of my Lamborghinis. Where the car is now, you will not believe. But first, we need to go back to before the car was stolen so you can understand how these thieves stole my car. In 2016, I took delivery of a green Lamborghini Huracan Spider, very similar to this one. However, the reason for buying it wasn't quite what you would expect. So back 8 years ago in 2016, I was already massively into my cars. I had a 2011 very early Aventador and I also had a Lamborghini Huracan. Now, the trouble with those cars back then is they depreciated, and they depreciated a lot of money. My Aventador lost over 100 grand over the 5 years I owned it, and the Huracans, well, they were depreciating £15,000 every year, minimum. But losing that money back then was just part of owning a supercar. But then I met Mo, and everything changed.
Mark, we've been good to see you again, man.
Big day. Right, let's go from the start. Let's go back to 2016.
Do we really want to live through that again? So back in 2016, things were great. We had all the latest toys like E63s, C63s, everything was going good. And then we felt like we wanted to do a transition. We wanted to step the game up, take the game to another level.
Yeah, so it was quite simple. Mo had this business idea that we could rent out these supercars. He showed me how much he could rent a day and he could show me how fast we could pay this car back. And we thought within a year, or definitely within 2 years, the car would be paid for. So imagine that. Imagine having a car which was 2 years old and it was free. Like it didn't owe us a penny, and that was the plan. Sounds too good to be true? Well, I thought it was worth a shot. So that was it. We were going into business together. But step one, we needed a car. And for me, the perfect car was a Lamborghini. And Mo knew what he needed. A bright coloured car and a Spider. A soft-top version which was going to be the perfect car to rent out. And even better, it was going to be one of the first in the Midlands. So that was it. I used my Lamborghini relationship to buy the perfect car. Bright green Huracan Spider, the start of our rental business. And here it is. I went headfirst, took the gamble and spent £220,000 on a green Lamborghini. But it turned out to be one of the worst decisions I've ever made.
So I remember once the Lamborghini Huracan come onto the fleet, I remember we started advertising and the phone started going off. People were going crazy. It was the first Lamborghini Spider in the UK that was available for hire.
So we had a super strong start. It was bringing in rental money and it seemed like the big gamble I made was paying off. And it actually went out 10 times, in fact. For a day it was £800, you had 100 miles included, and every mile after that was obviously a cost. My total rental income was £25,000. And that was just in the space of a few months. This car was going to be paid off in no time. So in theory, like, this was a no-brainer. The worst thing which was happening, I'd have these things through, so like that was a bus lane infringement, matey never paid for his parking. I can't even remember the wheel being curbed or the door being scratched. Like, it was just going well until that day when it definitely wasn't going well.
We had a client who turned around and called us, wanted to take the Lamborghini Huracan, but wanted it for a month. So we just ended up doing our checks and everything. I remember doing the delivery of the vehicle, done the handover. Everything was nice. Everything went perfect, just the way it does with normal cars as well.
And then things took a turn for the worse. I checked on the tracker and the car had been sat in Heathrow Airport for quite a few days. So I spoke to Mo. He said he'd rang the client. Very wealthy man, apparently.
He doesn't want to terminate the car hire, wants to hold on to the car, but he's going to be flying away for a couple of days. He had something to do with his tooth. He had an appointment in Dubai. So we're like, okay, cool, no problem. Saves us the mileage. Car's not going to be driven around and we're getting paid for a car being parked up. We thought that's brilliant.
Well, obviously for us, that was fantastic. Each day was being charged. Each day we were making money, especially if he wasn't using his 100 miles. So it was, you know, for the car to be parked up doing nothing was a massive bonus. So we thought.
And then about 2 weeks have gone past and we're thinking, do you know what, either this guy's got too much money or there's something wrong. So went down towards Heathrow, started looking for the cars, trying to get to the exact pinpoint where the tracker's showing and everything. There's no sign of the car. Searched every single car park, searched all the levels, walked past every single car just to be sure. So first what we turned around and did, we phoned up another tracker company just to say, listen, can you get us an exact location because we can't find that Heathrow Airport. And I got a phone call to turn around and say, mate, you need to park up and be ready for this because we've got some bad news for you. And he said he checked the tracker and the car was sitting in Thailand. That just blew us away. Like, wow, Thailand.
Our £220,000 Lamborghini was now 6,000 miles away, the other side of the planet. Was it lost, gone forever? Well, I can tell you, it's been a brutal 8-year battle. But maybe by the end of this video, we are still hoping we can drive our car again. But for now, what happened next?
So I remember at that stage, once we got the phone call to say that the car was in Thailand, we all went silent. Like, we didn't know what to say. We didn't know what to do. And the worst thing was, we still had to break the news to Mark. And we didn't know how to do that.
I remember to the second like it was yesterday when he told me the car had been stolen. Like 220 grand gone in a different country.
It's crazy that it was like 7 years ago because it still feels like yesterday.
Yeah.
Like to lose something like that and lose that money, it is so big.
But all I could think of, we needed to get to Thailand and get our car back. We weren't just going to roll over and let some guy nick our car.
You weren't going to allow anybody to steal that car just like that. That's not how it works in the world, and you're not the type of person just to roll over and allow that. But there was also no way that I was letting you go. Like, it was up to Mo and Co to sort it for you.
That was their part of the bargain, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The stress. So we had our plan, but first Mo needed to get the spare key.
I was a kid, I was only 12 years old.
This is little Mo, Mo's younger brother. If you're subscribed, then you would have seen him before. But if you aren't, then here is your chance. A crazy 75% of you watching now are not subscribed. So please click that button, as it really does help us.
Every day after school, I used to go to the office and I used to love it. I used to love looking at the cars. I actually remember the night that we went to get the key from Mark's house. I remember going to them big gates and I remember looking at Mark, and I got out the car. My brother said, can you just go and get the key off Mark? So I got out the car and I walked over, and he's looking stressed out, his hair's all over the place.
Mo now has that spare key and they are on a mission. So with the tracker pinging in Thailand, Ramiz and AJ jumped straight on the plane to see exactly where the £220,000 Hurricane had gone. We're going to find exactly where our stolen Lamborghini is. The lads were flying to the other side of the world. They are going with one clear objective: to bring this Hurricane back, no matter what it takes. So what happened when the boys landed in Thailand?
So as we got off the plane, we were met by a couple of police officers, and they basically were aware of the situation and they knew what's happened in Thailand with the car as well. So we got taken to a hotel. So they told us to stay here, and a team of officers will meet us in the morning. We've had a knock on the door in the morning at the hotel. We've come downstairs, and there's about 5-6 cop cars, about 2-3 officers in each one. We're outside waiting for them. We're going to go to the showroom where the car is. Every single officer must have had 2-3 guns from the boot of their car into their waist, into the back. And then we thought, what's going on here? Are we really getting into this? So we thought we'd be okay. I said to him, we'll be okay because there's loads of police officers.
So the boys followed the exact location of the tracker, and to their surprise, it brought them to an actual car showroom. And in the middle, for sale, yep, it was the green Hurricane. This was it, the answers to all our problems. They had eyes on the car. So all they had to do was prove it was rightfully ours, and then it was coming home.
As we've got to the place, we've pulled up. The traffic officer that we met, he asked, is this your car? We go, yes. I had the spare key at the time, so I flicked the button on the spare key and the car's unlocked. It was like a bit of a relief because knowing that we've actually found the car.
Yeah.
But the guy had put a spoiler on the car, maybe to make it look different, because we was a bit curious at first because he had foreign plates on and he had a spoiler on. But as soon as I flicked that button on the key fob, it was that car. They go, okay, so they go, we've confirmed that it is your car.
Yes, they'd found the car. But that is where everything took a massive turn for the worst.
The person who allegedly stolen the vehicle, well, the person who did actually steal it, he goes, can I have that key? I'm like, no, I've come for the car. I'm not going to give you a key. So police advised us to leave. Police officer obviously wanted a backhander, but we go, until we've not got a car, we're not going to pay anything more.
So they wanted you to pay money?
Yeah, it's Thailand. Yeah, Thailand officers wanted money.
So all of a sudden the police, the people we had entrusted to help us get our car back, had switched. But even worse, the lads were now in serious danger.
The officers even said to us, do not come back here. Do not go out at night, because this guy, he will put a hit on your head.
Wow.
That was said to us by the police officers. Bearing in mind, this person is a gangster. He's from a very wealthy family in Thailand.
So you were scared?
We were probably, I wouldn't say scared, I was frightened, because, you know, if somebody's going to kill your life there, your family are not going to find you or anything like that. Yeah. All sorts was going through our heads at the time.
I remember getting a phone call and our guys were telling us that they felt uncomfortable, and they said, we feel like they might do something bad to us. So I remember just turning around and telling them, listen guys, if you don't feel comfortable, and if you feel that something bad is about to happen, don't worry about the car. Just get back.
The lads managed to lay low, sneak to the airport and get on the first plane home, back to safety. But now the problem was even worse. We were in the UK whilst a 220 grand car was alone in Bangkok, 6,000 miles away, surrounded by corrupt police and in the possession of an obviously very powerful and influential man. This was not looking good. Where do we go from here? How can we get this damn car back? So the next logical thing was to go to the police. But unfortunately they couldn't help us because it was outside their jurisdiction. So we upped the game and went to the international police because we did know where the car was. Come on, Interpol. However, what happened next we didn't see coming. Our car had sparked a massive investigation. NAVSIS, National Vehicle Crime Intelligence Service, had joined our side. So it turns out things were going to get a lot more complicated because it wasn't just our car. The problem had just been escalated by 35 times. And the value of all the nicked cars together, £6.5 million. This was not going to be a quick job. NAVSIS informed us working on paperwork for 35 cars collectively would literally take years and years. And that was going to cost us. So the car was in Thailand, and we know these cars lose £15,000 a year. I obviously couldn't wait for years. This was a massive, massive amount of money which was sat in a foreign country. So I had a chat with Mo and I said to him, unfortunately the car has been stolen, so there's only one thing to do, and that's to claim on insurance. But Mo explained it just wasn't going to be that simple.
We couldn't phone our insurance company because that was something that it was just going to turn around and cause us major problems. We had 15 other cars that we needed the cover for, so we couldn't lose a policy over one car. So we got to a stage where we had to sit down and accept. We had over 200 grand that we had to turn around and raise. We had a commitment to Mark, and we had to honour that agreement. So the money, obviously it was a large amount of money. He decided to take it on himself, obviously on the hope that when the car came back, it was going to simply pay it all off, no problem whatsoever. But yeah, obviously some of it came in cash because it was selling bits, doing a deal here, selling this, getting some money off a friend. I know it was really, really tough for him. I'll always be grateful for Mo for honouring the debt. He owed the money and he got it together. But once I had it in my hand, paying it into the bank was now a whole different issue. So we went to the bank, told them that I had this money and I needed to pay it in. And they simply said no, like they can't touch that sort of cash. No. So now I had the stress of this money added to it already being one of the worst times for me and my family. I was going for a bad time in my life at the same time. My dad was very, very ill. In fact, when I was looking through the messages, my dad had literally had his leg chopped off
in between the messages of what was going on. I had alopecia, some of my hair had fell out from the stress of work, from my dad, and obviously losing every penny I had in the world in some rental car which was stuck in Thailand. So having this bag of money had now become another problem because I had no idea how I was going to pay this in. But we will get onto that in a minute. Now, my alopecia and the problems with my dad made me realise just how important good health is. And a good way to keep on top of that is by using today's sponsor, Manual. Using Manual, you can check your testosterone levels. This is good because having low testosterone can cause all sorts of health issues. But before I tell you more, we have a big problem with this money. Now, the problem I had when the bank wouldn't take that money for 2 weeks, I had all this cash in this house. So when I went to bed, it was right next to me. And when I went to work, it came with me. Everywhere I went for 2 weeks, I took this money with me. I was scared to death it was going to get stolen. I had to come up with a solution. Manual allows you to test your testosterone level with a simple blood test.
There's two choices you've got. It's the at-home prick test, which we did last time, or this one, which I prefer, is a nurse comes to your house and does it all for you.
So the blood test was off to the lab, and whilst we were waiting for the results, I found a way of paying in the money. The money was legit, but the bank just wouldn't take it, so I had an idea and I came to see the police. Now, they knew all about the case. They gave me a piece of paper to say that the money was kosher. So eventually I got this bank to accept the money. And on a Friday afternoon at 5 to 4, I came to here and they closed the branch with me inside it, and they counted all the money with 5 cashiers, and eventually I got the money safely into the bank. And even more good news, we have our results back from Manual. So because I went for the enhanced test, I have a fully in-depth set of bloods. Unfortunately, when the doctor looked at them, they saw I was low on total and free testosterone. This is why Manual are great, because they do have a solution to improve my health. I can book an appointment to get started on TRT services and get my levels back to normal. If you want to keep your health in check, you can get 45% off on your first order by using my discount code MARK45. Link is in the description, and thank you, Manual, for sponsoring this video. So now we're years down the line, and I obviously had been paid by Mo. His company, Eminence, was thriving and they started to get even more cars. But what had happened to that green Lamborghini?
Fast forward a couple of years and now I'm working here full time. I remember when an officer used to come to the office quite a lot, every 2 months, every 3 months, and oh, we've got this investigation going on over in Thailand, we've got this going on, we've got that going on. And he goes, Mo, I got some good news for you, mate. Your car's coming back, mate.
An investigation by the National Vehicle Crime Intelligence Service was first triggered by the discovery of 4 stolen Mercedes in a shipping container in Southampton.
That led us to look at the shipper's details.
And when they investigated into the shipper's details, then they noticed a marker from the Met Police regarding a stolen green Huracan. Yep, that was my car.
And we then identified very soon after that a number of vehicles that had been acquired via finance fraud in the UK had been transported via air freight to Bangkok.
And amongst those cars was our stolen Lamborghini Huracan. So they did some more investigation and they found out in total 35 cars were illegally imported and stolen into Thailand. And the mastermind criminal behind all this is currently held in Thai prison awaiting trial. We will keep his identity hidden as he has not yet been convicted. However, the evidence is pretty damning, especially as he is in all our pictures from when the boys originally flew out there. So the Thai police and NAVSIS seized all the cars, but now the massive problem was proving who owned these cars. This guy had allegedly paid for the cars, but obviously the paperwork, and rightly so, the cars owned to the finance companies and us. So this was a huge mess, and our little car was stuck right in the middle of it.
I think after the first 2 to 3 years, we'd given up. We thought, it's never going to come back. And this time, you've got to remember the car's getting more and more older as well, so it's starting to depreciate. So we're never ever going to get back what we lost.
And ridiculously, this process took a further 6 years. In fact, by the time it was all resolved, we were 8 years down the line. But thankfully, the guy is in Thai jail now, he's been arrested, he's awaiting trial, and we have our car back. Oh my God. It looks better than when it got nicked.
whole new body kit on it. The wheels have you noticed the wheels? The wheels have changed.
So he nicked it and upgraded it.
Yeah, it did. It looks better, doesn't it?
Never thought I'd be sat in here again.
What a journey this car has been on. Probably the craziest ever for a Lamborghini. Just one last thing to check, the Huracan has been sat for 8 years, but as you can see from the original footage, it's been stripped and pulled apart. We need to make sure this car is still as special as the day I bought it.
Ready? Why don't they sound like that anymore?
The car sounds better than ever. Although all looks good and sounds very well, we discovered the green car was hiding a very dark secret.
Right, can we take it for a spin?
Of course we can.
Who's driving?
Of course, me. It's my car. It's not your car anymore.
When this car was originally rented to the thief in 2016, the clock was showing only 7,000 miles. But now,
21,000 miles, he used it. That's
About-
15,000 miles.
Yeah, about 15,000 miles I've done in the car.
I thought he was sat in a compound always.
That's what I thought as well, but
back 8 years ago, we were told by the Thai police that the car was seized very shortly after it was stolen.
Was it due a service 7 years ago?
no, it was serviced in Thailand
When?
about 2021. But the car was.
How? So they told us that it was stuck in a compound and it wasn't moving, but they were still using it. It was seized and in the compound.
Yeah.
And it's done 15,000 miles and been serviced.
Yeah, correct, yeah. It's crazy, isn't it?
How it's come back, I would never know.
Same.
Although it's very fishy, we just can't change it. So now it's finally back, let's start enjoying this beautiful car.
Do you know I never drove it? It was literally just for us as a money-making scheme, which went horrifically wrong.
So you've never driven the car as well?
Never been in it. Never. I've seen it, obviously,
Wow.
but I've never ever driven it.
Brilliant. You know what? It's really fast as well, man. This is.
Brilliant. They sound so much better.
That sound
than they did.
way
God,
better,
Nick,
man. You know what? Believe it or not, you know when I got into it and I seen the max speed, I think they've done like 160 something miles per hour in the car.
Did they?
Yeah, so they were really enjoying this car.
So 160 mile an hour, 15,000 miles, or when it's supposed to be in a compound.
And a service done to it, and a kit put on, wheels changed.
I'm so happy it came back for you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Bad times, wasn't it?
Very bad. Very, very bad.
How was it?
Amazing. Did you hear it backfiring?
Sounds like it.
Do you know what? Obviously, we know that car theft in the UK is a massive, massive problem. But it just shows you that after 7 years of thinking this car's gone, miracles do happen and it came back, which gives a little bit of hope for people like me and you. See you next Tuesday, 6 p.m.